What is up? Today we are going to rank every Nintendo handheld. Not consoles, or we're going to skip over consoles for now, and we're going to talk about handhelds. Now, I didn't own every single one of these handhelds, but I pretty much know what they do, and I could imagine myself how I would feel if I did own one. So let's get started. First up, we have the original Game Boy, released in 1989, and if I was born back then and then this thing came out, this was revolutionary, man. But where would I put it now? I want to put, nowadays it just doesn't hold up, but I'm going to put it in C tier. I mean, it's not D, it's not trash, but the thing is, it doesn't have a backlit screen, so you're always squinting and always looking at, I played a Game Boy, but I never owned one. But the Game Boy titles were really good, like Tetris, Link's Awakening, Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. It was a really solid lineup. But and I don't mind taking 4 AA batteries for it to use, but it's just there's no backlit screen. It's just so hard to see. Good luck playing this in the dark. It's not happening. You're not being able to do it. So I'm putting this in C tier, but it is a classic. Next up, Game Boy Pocket. It's literally the same thing as the regular Game Boy, except smaller. So moving on. Next up is the Game Boy Lite. Oh yeah, this is going in B tier. But why in the hell was this only released in Japan? Why? The Game Boy Lite is what the original Game Boy should have been. Because having a backlit screen changes everything. It's just amazing, and you can see what you're playing. But if only we had this on the original Game Boy. But this came out right before the Game Boy Color. So yeah, speaking of the Game Boy Color, we have the Game Boy Color. So the Game Boy Color, I'm putting it above the Game Boy Lite, just because, well, it is more powerful, and this does introduce color, which is nice. But the thing is, it got rid of the backlit screen, which does hold it down for me. If it had a backlit screen, I would probably put this in A tier, but it doesn't, man. Why did they get rid of the backlit screen? That was so good. The fun thing about the Game Boy Color is that all the colors in the word color are different color variants of different Game Boys, which is pretty cool. But the fact that it does not have a backlit screen really hurts. But the games that came with it were awesome. So Gold, Silver, Crystal, Pokemon, and Oracle Ages and Seasons and Tetris again come back. And there's more, but yeah, let's just keep it at B tier. Alright, next up we have the original Game Boy Advance. Now the Game Boy Advance is, oh boy, is this A or S? Should I put this in A or S tier? It still does not have a backlit screen, so you're still constantly looking at it closely. I'm putting this in A tier. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Without a backlit screen, it's just, in fact, I want to see what I'm playing. If I'm having a hard time seeing what I'm playing, I'm not having a good time. So I'm putting this in A tier, and the fact is, it's backwards compatible with all Game Boy Color and Game Boy games. Oh, I forgot to mention the Game Boy Color is backwards compatible with Game Boy. That's why I put it above the line. Anyways, but there were so many good games on the Game Boy Advance. I can't name them all. That's not part of this video. The video is talking about the hardware. So, A tier. Next up, we have the Game Boy Advance SP, and this is definitely going in S tier. I have mine. I have my Game Boy Advance SP, and it is awesome. Backlit screen, well, depending on which version, the 101 or the 001 version, but the backlit screen is an S tier because you can still play all Game Boy Advance, Color, and Game Boy. But there is one con, is that there is no headphone jack. But I can live with it, I don't really need headphones that much. And the fact that it's foldable, meaning this thing is very portable, and it's just awesome. Another con too is that if you're playing Game Boy games, and that cartridge is definitely sticking out really far out, and it could be uncomfortable. But other than that, I think it's pretty solid. Okay, the Game Boy Micro. Part of me likes that this handheld exists, But the other me is like, why does it exist? Because it came out right after the DS. So why did they come up with it in the first place? I'm not gonna lie, I want a Game Boy Micro. I'm putting this in the B tier just because it has a backlit screen. But it probably should be in C tier, but I'm putting it in low B because of the backlit screen. Well, yes, you can't play Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance titles on the system, but I like it how you can change the faceplates on all the Game Boy Micros, and I like the addition of the lowercase A and B on the console, which is pretty nice, I'd say to myself. And the Game Boy Micro is awesome. I'm glad that it exists, but even though it shouldn't. Alright, next up, DS. DS, I'm putting it in A tier. I'm talking about the bulky one. The one that I've never seen anyone own. It was always the DS Lite. I mean, what can you ask for? I mean, it's backwards compatible for Game Boy Advance titles. And you have two screens. The bottom is a touch screen. You have your own stylus. It's amazing, man. When this thing came out in the year 2004, I wasn't even alive yet, so. But I mean, you have to admit, the DS is an amazing console, but the DS Lite, which is right here, is better, S tier. And the XL is the same thing except bigger. So if you want it bigger, then the XL is for you. I mean, nothing. Well, in these versions, you can't play backwards compatible Game Boy Advance titles, which sucks. But it is more powerful. Well, a bit more powerful than the original DS. So I'm putting it in S tier. And this is the one I grew up with, so I never had the original Game Boy. Not Game Boy, DS. So yeah. Next up we have the Nintendo 3DS. This is S tier. Almost every 3DS is S tier because it had so much personality. It was backwards compatible with all DS games, and the Virtual Console on the new models. It was amazing console because this made you go outside. You know, imagine like just street passing someone, like taking your DS to the grocery store, and then you were able to street pass someone, and you're like, oh wow, me Plaza. And it was just amazing, you know, and it came with amazing games, but it's not what it is for this video. I'm not gonna rank every single DS, okay? The new one's S tier. They're all S, okay? I'll edit it later. Okay, the 2DS. I know people are like, why does this exist? Well, here's the thing. This was cheap. I remember back in the day, you can get this one with Mario Kart 7 for only $80. Oh my, that is a steal back in the day. Because, I mean, what if you don't like the 3D slider thing? You don't like the gimmick? And I mean, sure, you can't close it, which can break your screen if you're not careful, but you don't have to worry about the hinges breaking, so that's a plus. I mean, it's not bad. I'm putting it in low A tier. It's like a friendly budget option, you know, so it's not bad. I mean, I'll take the Nintendo 2DS, you know, it's a really good console. I'm glad that it exists, and if someone's broke out there back in the day, they could buy it and still have the fun 3DS experience. The new 3DS XL, I don't know why it exists. I'm putting it in B. It's the same thing as the 3DS except no sliding, but I don't know why it exists. And last but not least, we have the Nintendo Switch Lite. Not the Nintendo Switch, it's a hybrid. The Switch Lite is mainly handheld, so it's on the list. And this one is going in D tier. I hate the Nintendo Switch Lite. The Switch Lite is what the 2DS is to the 3DS, as the Switch Lite is to the regular Switch. But unlike it, the regular Switch costs us $200. Alright, you know, free budget option, you know, because the regular Switch costs $300 and the OLED model costs $350. But here's the problem. If your Switch Lite ever gets dripped, and you do not know how to fix it, or you don't take it somewhere to get it fixed, you have to replace the entire console. $200. Yeah, it sucks, and I learned that the hard way. I bought my own Switch Lite, I played a lot, got drift, and I could never play it again. The Switch Lite sucks, man. Throw it in the garbage right now. Anyway, then that's the Nintendo handheld tier list. I hope you enjoy, and I like making one of these tier list videos, but they're a pain in the ass to edit. So I'll see y'all next time, I guess.